In this live match, I was so close to defeat. I was almost out. I'd almost blown it. But with a bit of fortune, hopefully a bit of good angling, and a bit of luck, we managed to turn it around and get a respectable result. So if this is something you're interested in, then hang around to find out how we did in the latest episode of Out of My Comfort Zone. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this match, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who watched the video last week when I actually blanked. I didn't catch any fish. Now, it hasn't actually got as many views as some of the other videos, probably because I didn't catch anything. But I felt it was an important one to post. I felt like to actually show this evolution of this campaign, I had to show it, and the comments for it were unbelievably positive. So I really appreciate everyone who took the time to watch that one. If you haven't seen it, it's up here. Promise there's more fish in this one. This one's really good. But yeah, I just wanted to say a quick thank you for that one, because it's a bit of a stab in the dark. Most people would format, delete, and move on to the next match. But I thought, yeah, it's really important to show that. And luckily, even though we didn't catch anything, lots of you enjoyed it. So thanks everyone, and don't forget to subscribe while you're at it. Now, welcome back to the latest episode of Out of My Comfort Zone, and this one's a really interesting day. One where, unlike last week, or last match where we blanked, we actually caught a load of fish this week, and it was really good, really exciting fishing, really interesting fishing. And yet again at Boddington, another spanner in the works. It fished totally different to anything that I've seen so far. But the start of the day was all about the flooding. Now, this area has been absolutely battered by Storm Bert. We've got massive flooding in Northampton and the surrounding area. Big loads of floods. Certainly in the village where I live, we were struggling to get in and out of it for a day or so. It was an absolute nightmare. And in fact, just on the very down wall of Boddington, this amazing flood was taking place.
Boddington. Just a little bit of rain, look. Just a touch. Just seen a van get stuck in there. And the water is like mud, liquid mud. It's dreadful. The water pumping out there. Unbelievable. He's going for it. Oh, he's got Land Rover, he'll get through, no bother.
So as you can see, the road was flooded, people were getting stuck. It was just an absolute nightmare. But with that rain, obviously brought a load of, it's a reservoir at the end of the day, Boddington, so it's got fresh water coming in. And it meant that we got an extra load of colour coming. And when I say colour, it was like a thick brown, dark brown colour. I've never seen it as colours as that. Obviously, my experience is a bit limited. But it was like one of those days. I've not seen it in that condition before. So this was going to be another day where I'm learning again about Boddington.
Interesting, we had all that rain, that's Storm Bert. Look at the colour of the water. Thick brown. Beautiful day though, look at that. Flat calm again. Beautiful.
As a whole, you know, we've seen it in so many different... We've had a week where 8 fish was enough to win. We've had a week where 3 fish was enough to win. We've had a week where 1 fish was enough to win. It's sort of... It's becoming like a real, journey into this venue that I've got a real love for now, having been there a few times. So I managed to draw a peg 72, which isn't a peg that you'd normally run for, but 69, which was a peg I was second on a few weeks ago, is the end peg, and you get loads of room on that peg. And although 72 is not one that you'd necessarily run to, that area has been throwing up an odd fish, and at the weekend, actually, the whole section had blanked on the golden reel.
Right, peg 72 for the day, which it's not where you want to be really to win the match, but I won 69 the other week and come second. Probably should have won. So you just never know, do you? I think it could be rock hard, even though it's... See the colour of the lake, it's like chocolate. I'm going to start a bit further out, just getting a bite's the hope for today. But look at that, what a beautiful day to be out. Gorgeous. I'm going to start on a bigger rod today, 13 footer. It's great, isn't it? Flat calm. Not seen any carp jump out or anything, but...
So we'd had Our match the week before, where I blanked and only one fish had won. We had the Golden Reel, where very few fish were caught. There was a Sunday Open. I didn't fish any of those two matches, by the way. But Sunday Open again, very, very difficult. Not many fish being caught. So I guess all signs were pointing to this being a really difficult match. You know, I was thinking, if I can get 2, 3 fish again, then we could be in for a bit of money. Now, Pete Caton, who expertly runs the matches on the venue, walked past me and said, this is going to be a 10 bite day. I'm like, surely not. How can it get so much better in 2 days? Like, it'd been 1 fish, 2 fish at the weekend. How can it suddenly get to 10 fish? But he was confident that this extra colour that had come into the venue would switch the fish on. Now, this is where, obviously, a lack of experience on my part can really cost you. In my head, I'm thinking, it might be bluffing here, it might be bluffing. It's going to be hard. It's going to be rock hard. And I thought, I've just got to try and get a bite first. That's the first thing I'll do. So, kept my bait and everything the same as the week before. I'm really happy with the bait I'm using. No problems there at all. But I thought I need to just start a long way out. I need to just get a bite. I need to try and get to 3 fish, because that's all I've got in my mind. I'm thinking I just need to catch 3 fish. Now, what a poor decision that was, and what a lack of, like, I'm gonna say watercraft. What a lack of watercraft on my part. But I wasn't alone, because my good mate Rob Wotton fell down the same trap. But obviously everything was pointing towards this being a tough day. It was cold. It was a beautiful day, don't get me wrong. Beautiful, flat, sunny day. But it had been rock hard just 2 days before, 3 days before, the week before. And I'm thinking, how can it possibly turn around so quick? Anyway, so I've decided to set 2 rods up. And I was going to start at 80 metres, and then I'd set up with a 45 gram method, and I was going to work my way out to like 100 metres. Well, I set off at 80 metres, and as is often the case at Boddington, round it went, first chuck. It was only a little fish, this, but obviously it meant that I'd got off the mark straight away, which is always a good sign. But the guys either side of me, Tommy and Webby, had both started much, much closer. At sort of 50 to 60 metres range, it kind of looked to me. I was certainly a long way past them at 80 metres. And both of them had caught a fish early. Then Keith next to Webby had caught one. And I was like, oh, this is a worry. Now, bear in mind, the last 2 weeks I've spent a combined 4 hours at 60 metres, because I've been breaking it up into 2-hour segments in my matches and not had a bite yet. To see them getting bites at 50 to 60 metres was a big worry, and I'm sat there thinking, oh, I've gone too far. I've started out too far. But I thought eventually they're going to rock up, you know, and I might have them all to myself out there. I've rang Rob and I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I can't remember if he'd got one or he hadn't got one. I think he'd got one, similar to me early doors. And then, but either side of me had Stuart Paulser to his right and Pete Caton to his left. And they'd started shorter as well. And they'd got off to a quick start as well. I think Pete had got to 5 fish after an hour and a bit. Stuart had got to 2 or 3. Webby, at this point, to my right's got 5. Tommy's got 5 to my left. Keith's got 3. And I'm stuck on 1. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, when you're getting so few bites at Boddington, demons creep into your head, because because it's one of those places where you don't get any indications, you don't get no liners, you don't get no there's nothing to work at in terms of, you don't suddenly put some bait in and then get a load of liners that the fish are there, or you kind of like, it's all mental. It's all, I don't want to say theory, but it's all mental. It's a mental battle, is Boddington. And I'm sat there thinking, I've just blown it, because I can't, I've chucked out long, and then I don't really want to come short, because traditionally you start at a distance and then you work further out because you're pushing the fish away from you. Now I've started 80 metres and all the fish are like way this side of my feeder. You know, I'm thinking these fish are at 50 metres here, maybe even shorter.
Getting absolutely battered. This is Webby's 5th fish, 6th bite. Tommy on the other side's had 4 as well. And I've had 1. Started too far out. Come back closer, see what happens. Oh, he's making it look easy at the moment.
So I had a big decision to make, because at this point I'm 4 fish behind, and I'm thinking I just need to almost restart here. I can't do this, because if I'm going to go longer, I'm just going further away from the fish. I can't stick at 80 metres because it doesn't look like the fish are out there. Obviously this coloured water's meant that the fish have come closer to the bank. And I'm just chucking way past them, and Rob was exactly the same. So I decided to go back into my bag, get the shorter rod out, the 12-foot Monster Extreme. Went and got that out, and I've sticked it up at 58 metres. And I thought, I need a something big to happen here, because I need to catch like 4 or 5 fish now without either side of me catching one to even get close to them. And I'm not going to do that 80 metres. I'm just going to tick over out there. I would have got some bites out there, I'm sure, but I would have just ticked over. So I thought, I need to come shorter and I need to attack it. I need to make something happen here. So anyway, I comes back in, goes back out to that 58 metres mark for the first time. Rob rang me and he's like, I'm panicking. He tried short and then he's gone back long. Then he's back short again, and he's like going through the same demons that I've got. And it was really interesting listening to someone else going through it as well. Anyway, and I've dropped in short, and after 20 minutes, it's gone round. Now, unbelievably, guttingly, it come off. Now this is something that I've noticed a lot of Boddington of late. Fish are coming off, and I don't know whether it's just because it's getting colder. I don't know. We have to change to elasticated feeders, so I can't even blame the inline feeder thing anymore. It just came off, and I noticed quite a few people lost fish, and it has been happening like that. The only thing I can think, and I've said it before, I think when it's hard, and like that was my second fish, and I've really needed it to stay on because I need to start getting some momentum. You play things a bit more gently, and maybe you're not putting enough pressure on the fish. But to be honest, this one came off just halfway back, so hard to say I've done anything wrong. Anyway, I've decided to crack on. And what I started doing was having double and triple casts. By that I mean chucking out, letting the feeder hit the surface, reeling in quick, chucking out, and then letting the second one go to the bottom and fish. I was even doing it 2-3 times at times. And I'm thinking, I just need to create. The fish are clearly out there. I just need to give them a reason to be in front of me and feeding well. And then slowly but surely, like I say, you don't get liners at Boddington, but I started to get. I had one where the rod went round and I thought it was on and there was nothing there. I had another one where I'd done that 2 bait up thing, and as my feeder's landed, it's got to the bottom, I'm getting little liners, I'm thinking they're responding, I'm actually getting a response to this. And I thought it's only a matter of time. But at this time, it's like, well over halfway through the match at this point, you know, I need, these people are 5 and 6 fish in front of me. I need something big to happen. I need it to happen. Anyway, Rob's on the phone again, and I've chucked out, and it's hit the bottom. It's gone straight round.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
What, it's 50 metres again?
Yeah.
Great.
Great, yeah, I love that. Great.
Yeah. Well, see you later.
See ya. Hey? Me? I've only got 1. Yeah, the other one came off. I'd suck a tramp off for 4. Hey?
all Tommy, I tell you. He's catching that many, it's a blur. Now I thought that was a really good sign because it meant that the fish were coming to the noise of the feeder, and it was like a 1 minute bite. I've chucked it out again and it's done exactly the same thing. Amazingly, 2 fish in like 5 minutes, and all of a sudden they're such big fish at Boddington. I'm thinking, right, come on, we can get through this now. And I actually caught 4 fish in 15 minutes, which 4 fish at Boddington with the current stampers there, it's £40. So I'm thinking, right, come on, we're back in it now. And I attacked it again for another 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes without any more indications. So I decided to take a little bit more distance off, added another 3 metres onto my cast, give it a double cast again, straight round on the second cast. Brilliant. Gone out again, got another one quick. So all of a sudden I've got like 5, 6 fish now while I'm attacking it, plus the one from early. And I'm thinking, where I said to Rob I need like 5 or 6 fish without reply, I actually got that. I think I caught 5 fish before Tommy or Webby caught another one. And all of a sudden I'm right up there with them. But one thing I noticed as I'm catching, and obviously the fish had got to me and settled in front of me, Tommy to my left on that end peg, he just decided to fish at like a nice range, 50 to 60 metres, doing it nice and tidy, and he's catching, and he's got so much water to pull fish from, and I just couldn't catch him up. I couldn't. Every time I'd catch one, he'd catch 2, and it was just like I just couldn't get to him. But I'm thinking, as they paid top 2 in the zone, if I can just stay ahead of Keith and Webby, then it'll be a great comeback considering where I'd been. Hey, you said you weren't going to get a bite, Tommy. Do you need another net? You're going to need another keep net, ain't you? And that kind of set the tone, really. I just kept going. Every time it went a little bit quiet, I'd add a metre, 2 metres, 3 metres onto my clip, just to start again. They were coming to the bait, but they weren't ravenous, if that makes sense. They were definitely coming to the feeder going in. They were definitely coming to that bit of scattering of pellets out there, but they weren't like tearing up the bottom. And I think that's probably at Boddington because you're not getting like 10 fish coming, I don't think. I think you're getting like 3 or 4 fish coming. So they're not like competing mad for it, but they are following that feeder down. So it was really interesting. Bloody hell. That's £25, isn't it? Could be the match winner, that one, Tommy. Cracking. Can't be mine. Thing is, Tommy, that ain't small. Anyway, it was all about making the most of everything, and I'm fishing that 45 gram feeder, packing the pellets on. I'm putting a proper loading of pellets on as well. I'm like double loading it, I'm chucking it out, and I'm getting, it's literally hitting the bottom. And if I got it right and there was a fish there, it hit the bottom and it goes straight round. It was unbelievable fishing, like summer fishing. Anyway, I ended up with 11 fish. Now Keith, who I thought Tommy was way ahead of me. I think he got 13 or 14 carp, including a real big one. It looked like a 20 pounder. Tommy was out, he was going to win the section. And then I felt like Keith, Webby unfortunately had stopped catching, or fortunate for me, whichever way you look at it. He'd stopped catching, but Keith to his right had started catching, and I think he had 8 or 9 carp, which, you know, at Boddington the size fluctuates quite a lot, so 9 fish could be as many as my 11, so it'd be interesting at the weigh-in. Luckily for me, my 10 or 11 fish went 114 pounds, which real big lads, which was enough for second in the zone. Tommy won our zone with 139 pounds, and Pete Caton won the whole match with 160 pounds or 169 pounds. What a brilliant day's fishing for December. Now, it's just one of them. I come third overall, which is I think is a brilliant result, and it was a great comeback on the day. You know, I'd misread the situation, but luckily, by acting quickly and actually reassessing and starting again, I managed to get a positive result and a great afternoon's fishing. Like, to catch £100 near enough in 2 hours at Boddington is great fishing, trust me. You know, you're catching big fish, you're chucking out. It's just brilliant fishing, like really enjoyable. And I'd managed to turn it around. Now, Boddington absolutely fished its knackers off that day. There were fish caught everywhere. Everyone was getting, you know, 4, 5, 6 pulls, 10 pulls, 8 pulls. Totally different to the other weeks that I've been there, and it just shows you how experience on a venue is so important. Pete, Caton and Stuart, when they walked past me in the morning, they said it was going to be a 10 bite day. They were dead right, and it was even better than that, to be honest. Having not seen the venue with that amount of colour in, and knowing how it would respond, bearing in mind the information I'd got from 2 days before, 3 days before and a week before, all pointed it to being rock hard, and yet those two anglers with endless experience on the venue knew exactly how it was going to fish, and they fished, you know, they knew what was going to happen. And yeah, that caught me out. And so while it was a good comeback, an epic comeback, really exciting, I love this day's fishing. While it was all about that, I can't help but feel like I had a chance to maybe win. Now, that's a big, when someone like Pete was £50 near enough in front, it's a big ask, but at Boddington that's 4 fish, and I spent 2 hours early doors with just 1 fish and totally messing it up. So as much as my comeback was great and I really enjoyed it, it was perhaps a little bit of a missed opportunity. But a little bit more experience, we've got another nice result, another frame. So we've framed 3 times now. We've had a second, a third and a fourth and a blank in my 4 matches at Boddington. Pretty good, I'd say. I've drawn some good pegs, messed a couple up. I feel like I've had 2 chances now to maybe win, which is frustrating. And even made the first trip I went, if I'd have known a bit more about the venue, I probably could have won that day as well. So, real learning curve this. I'm getting to grips with it. Like I say, it's all about the decision making on the day and experience at the minute. And I'm building that experience and I'm building that discipline and that mental battle that it is, this place. And it's just brilliant. So I hope you're enjoying the videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again in the next one.